You've heard it a million times, right? Probably since you were a little kid. But is it actually true? Today, we're going to put one of the most famous pieces of nutritional advice ever right under the microscope.
There it is, that exact saying. It's so deeply ingrained in our culture that it just feels like a fact. It's the bedrock of so many morning routines, the supposed secret to having a great, productive day. But what if I told you that bedrock is starting to get some serious cracks? Yep, you guessed it, intermittent fasting. This whole dietary plan, which, let's be honest, often means you have to skip breakfast entirely, has absolutely taken the world by storm. Millions of people are swapping their morning cereal for just a glass of water, all hoping for better health. So that's the big question, isn't it? Is it the classic wisdom that's been passed down for generations? Or is it this new data-driven trend? That is exactly what we are going to unpack. Let's really dig into the evidence. All right, first up, let's explore why breakfast got this golden reputation to begin with. I mean, for decades, we've had study after study pointing to some pretty serious, tangible benefits of starting your day with a real meal. The impact of breakfast on how well we perform is, well, it's direct, and you can actually measure it. Research from places like the Mayo Clinic links a morning meal to better brain function, memory, and attention. For students, that can literally mean higher test scores. It even helps improve our moods and our ability to handle frustration. It really does seem like a morning meal is fuel for the brain. And yet, even with all those clear benefits, a huge number of people are just opting out. A staggering 27% of teenagers are skipping breakfast. Think about that. They're potentially missing out on that critical cognitive boost right when their brains are doing some of their most important development. Okay, now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the argument. Because while intermittent fasting is super popular, some newer research is starting to raise some red flags about the potential long-term issues with skipping breakfast and squeezing your eating into a small window. This statistic is, honestly, it's pretty startling. Now, it's important to note this is from a preliminary analysis, so it's not the absolute final word. But the findings are huge. Researchers saw that adults who limited all their eating to just an 8-hour window had a 91% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. That really challenges the idea that this eating pattern is good for everyone. Okay, so here's a crucial point. It's not just about losing weight, it's about the kind of weight you're losing. One study found that on a time-restricted diet, a shocking 65% of the total weight lost was lean mass. That's your muscle. Now compare that to a typical diet, where it's usually only around 20 to 30%. Losing muscle is not what you want for healthy weight loss. It can cause some serious health problems down the road. So our bodies run on this 24-hour internal clock, right? It's our circadian rhythm. And it turns out that when we eat is one of its most important cues. This whole science of chrononutrition suggests that when you skip breakfast, you're basically throwing that finely tuned clock completely out of sync. And this misalignment, it's linked to a higher risk of metabolic problems and, yep, you guessed it, cardiovascular disease again. And then you've just got basic human psychology to deal with. When you can only eat for a few hours a day, there's this huge temptation to make those meals feel extra rewarding. That can lead you to make poorer food choices. And studies have actually shown this. Some people who fast end up eating less fiber and more sugar, which kind of undermines the whole point. So with all these potential risks on the table, it seems pretty clear that if you are going to eat breakfast, you should probably do it right. It's not just about shoving something in your mouth, it's about eating the right things to really set yourself up for a successful day. Think of these foods as your brain's A-team. Northwestern medicine points to foods that are packed with healthy fats and antioxidants. So fatty fish gives you the omega-3s you need to actually build brain cells. The antioxidants in blueberries can improve how your brain cells talk to each other. And eggs, they've got choline, which is a super important nutrient for your memory. And you know, making a healthier choice can be really simple. Just like the NHS shows here, these little swaps can make a huge difference. Just trading that sugary cereal for some porridge or a croissant for wholemeal toast, it cuts down on sugar and boosts your fiber, which is going to keep you feeling full and focused for way longer. So what does a great healthy breakfast actually look like in real life? If porridge and toast just aren't doing it for you, let's look way beyond the cereal box. We can find some amazing and incredibly healthy breakfast ideas from all over the world. And we're going to start in the Middle East. First up, shakshuka. This is a one-pan masterpiece. You've got eggs gently poached in this rich, spiced sauce of tomatoes and peppers.
It's savory, super satisfying, and just loaded with nutrients.
Next, we've got foul madames, which is a staple across the Levant. It's made from slow-cooked fava beans seasoned with olive oil and lemon. It is so hearty, delicious, and absolutely packed with protein and fiber.
And you can think of manakish as the Middle Eastern answer to having pizza for breakfast. It's the soft, warm flatbread, and it's often topped with a super fragrant blend of thyme and sesame seeds called satar. And for something totally different, there's balalit. This dish is from the Gulf region, and it brilliantly balances sweet and savory flavors. It combines these spiced vermicelli noodles, think cardamom and saffron, with a thin omelet right on top.
So after weighing all this, tradition versus the very latest science, where do we actually land? Well, the evidence seems to suggest that the what of your first meal might be far more important than the when. It's less about whether you eat the second you wake up and so much more about what you choose to fuel your body with when you do decide to eat. So maybe the real question isn't, is breakfast the most important meal of the day, but rather, how can you make your first meal the most intentional one?